We all know that violence creates more violence. And sadly, today, I have to share with you a story that confirms the only outcome that war and, for that matter, any armed conflict can have. A Syrian Christian fighter found this Islamic State group militant and captured him. And instead of turning him into the Kurds authorities, he decided to behead him and execute him to avenge the people executed by the jihadists in the northeastern Syria, where they have a strong presence. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said the incident took place in the province of Hasakeh, an IS stronghold where the jihadists control large areas of the countryside. And this is very, very sad because we are seeing that war is taking a hold of people that otherwise, if you're a good Christian, they tell me you wouldn't commit these crimes.
Well, I mean, maybe so, but you were right, and violence begets violence. But I think what this man did, I mean, I don't know if it was a revenge killing. We don't have a statement from him, but he might have just been sick and tired of seeing these thugs murderously committing these atrocities across his countryside, and just couldn't help himself. And for that, I mean, the U.S. Delta Force last year, when they wanted to take out one ISIS member, you know how much that cost us? I mean, I personally think that this man should be applauded for taking out one of them. I'm just sad he didn't take out more.
I think the war is creating an environment where we are righteous in a way, apologizing violence. But the reality of the conflict with ISIS is that we don't have a clear strategy politically. And as long as there's no right course of how we're going to fix this, war is only extension of politics. And the more we have a war, an armed conflict going in the region without direction, we are going to see people taking law in their own hands, like ISIS. And we are trying to move away from that type of behavior. We're trying to move away from people just deciding to kill other people. But the reality is that ISIS is becoming a source of hatred, and is trying, achieving that other people leave that reality of taking the law in their own hands. And I think that it is dangerous, and it's a success for ISIS itself.
You're right. You're right in that he shouldn't have taken the law in his own hands. But ISIS is a cancer that is rapidly swallowing Iraq, Syria, and Libya. And at least this guy had enough guts to do something about it. Conversely, Iraq, the Iraqis seem to have no motivation, which some argue is why Ramadi fell. They don't have the drive to fight for their own land, to fight for what belongs to them. But I don't know this man. I don't know his motivation or why he did what he did.
He was fighting with the Peshmerga, the Kurds forces that are actually, like you said, lauded as one of the most motivated fighters in the region. They are secular. They're not fighting for a religious reason. They're fighting because they believe that there's wrong for ISIS to take this action. So they're pushing hard in Syria. But that is the reality. The reality is we talk a lot about Iraq and what is happening in Iraq, and if they are taking important advances in that country. The reality is Syria is where they go back and hide and regroup and come back. So as long as we don't control or the region is not stable, they will always have that back house to go to. And not only there, we saw this week 2 different bombings in Saudi Arabia that killed in the mosque. Yesterday, they killed 4 people in a mosque. One of them was a Washington State University student traveling to Saudi Arabia to get married. So they are very bold. They're trying to explore. And obviously, Saudi Arabia is very important because they have the 2 biggest mosques for the Muslim faith. So whoever controls that controls the Muslim religion, if you will. And they police it. So I think that it's important that we don't celebrate violence, and we understand that we need to pave the way to a peaceful resolution. And trying to bring the parties together is really hard, but I think that most people would like to see more war happening, trying to exterminate ISIS. Mm-hmm. But we want to know, what do you think? Do you think that violence is the only answer to ISIS? Let us know what you think, and please subscribe to the Lib TV 2.